Hello everybody, my name is Larry. This is my channel named Living with Stage 4 Metastatic Prostate Cancer. I plan today's video entitled Using Social Contact to Stay Healthy to be last in the historical section of this channel. Going forward, I will make this channel a video log of my journey as a cancer patient. Let's get right to the crux of the matter. Social contact is good, while social isolation is not healthy. I researched this statement and found an article in the American Journal of Epidemiology, volume 188, number 1, dated October 16th, 2018. Now I had to look up the word epidemiology, and that means the branch of medicine that deals with the incidence, distribution, and possible control of diseases and other factors related to health. So it sounds like we have one correct source here in this journal for the data we want. The article is titled Social Isolation in the United States Black and White Men and Women. Now they use a term here called hazard ratio in the journal. And a hazard ratio is the probability of an event in a treatment group relative to the control group probability over a unit of time. So hazard ratio is just a comparison of how much more or less likely an outcome is compared to that outcome happening in a control group. The article states that adults enrolled in Cancer Prevention Study 2 in 1982 through 1983 were followed for mortality through 2012. That's 30 years that they follow these people. The people in this study numbered 580,182. Social isolation was associated with all-cause mortality, and the hazard ratios were 2.34 and 1.6 for black men and white men respectively. So it's 2.34 times more likely that people who socially isolated, if you were a black man, died within that 30-year period than the control group. And it's 1.6 times more likely that the person would die in that 30 years if you were a white man than if you were in the control group. If you're isolated, than if you're in the control group. In the same article, a footnote references a study by Berkman and Syme, who developed a social network index that's a measure of social isolation derived from several components, including marital status, participation in church groups and other groups, and number and frequency of contact with close friends and relatives. In age-adjusted analyses, they found that men and women who were the most isolated had 2.3-fold and 2.8-fold higher risks of premature mortality, respectively, than the least isolated. Dozens of subsequent studies using various social isolation measures have examined associations with overall mortality with weighted mean effect sizes between 1.29 and 1.83. So all of those studies just show one thing, that it's not healthy to be isolated. I also read an article I forgot to reference that said that long-term isolation leads a human to hallucinate. They often invent imaginary friends to keep them company. This all points to an idea generally recognized that man is a social animal and that long-term isolation is not healthy for humans. On a personal level, I try to stay connected to people. I live alone, so I believe this to be especially important for me. I've learned to be comfortable alone, but I need to be careful not to isolate for too long. I try to be around people and socialize on a daily basis. One way I do this is to go out to breakfast at a local restaurant named the White Horse about 5 times a week. I sometimes invite friends to meet me there. If I go alone, I can still talk to other patrons there since I know them from being a regular patron. The regular waitress knows me by name. I live in a small town, so I was already acquainted with many of the other regulars there. It's a hangout for older people. There's a table of guys, usually there I call the sports legends of Berwick. They consist of football coaches and teachers and locally famous former athletes. I have short conversations with a few of them. It's a socially warm environment for me, and the breakfast is a cherry on top of that social cake. When the weather permits it in northeastern Pennsylvania, I still go out on a golf course. My legs and balance are not in good shape currently, so I did not play much this most recent season. I believe the joking around with my group and socializing is just as beneficial as the physical health benefits from the exercise involved in golf. I also meet with a self-help and spiritual support group a few times per week, as I have for many years. I have friends in this group that I can talk to about anything, and often do. Though it's a spiritually based group, the social benefits from this fellowship to me are many. I also receive social benefits where I volunteer at the Jackson Mansion Museum in Berwick, Pennsylvania. I'm a docent or a tour guide there, among other duties. During the 9 months it is open for tours, I do about 3 or 4 tours per month. The mansion is Victorian. It was completed in 1879, and the tour script involves the Jackson family who lived in the mansion and their relationship to the history of the former major railroad car industry that provided the wealth to build it. I find it a lot of fun, and I recommend it to anyone who is interested in Victorian history, Berwick history, or to those who may want to experience what a Victorian mansion meticulously restored to its original state looks like. In examining how social situations aid my general health, I think the lesson here is to be kind to people and also to myself. The benefits flow naturally from these actions. Remember, if you're a stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer patient or have a loved one who is, please stay in the game. Do not be discouraged. Enjoy your friends and family. Have some fun. Laugh every day. Enjoy every bowl of oatmeal with raisins you have for breakfast. Peace to you all. See you later.